Welcome to the Imperfectly Charming podcast.
Oh,
And welcome Hannah Magiera, my daughter, my first guest
oh,
speaker.
Leroy's coming.
Okay, Leroy, her cat. Okay,
He
Leroy.
might pop in and out. Might pop in and out.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming, Hannah, and being my first guest.
I'm honored. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So I had published She Kicks Like a Girl, and it is the story that I told, of course, that you know of when you tried out to be a kicker for the high school football team.
Mhm.
And this is just a story of breaking through the barriers and not letting others sway your goals and your dreams about becoming something that normally girls aren't on the football team. And you wanted to break that barrier.
Mhm.
So I kind of wanted to talk about it, and I did prepare some questions because I wanted to make sure that I jotted them down. So I'm going to be reading some to you.
Sure.
So I want you to take us back
Okay.
to when you made the decision to be on the varsity team. And I don't know if you want to take us back to junior year when you originally thought about it, or if you just want to jump right into senior year when you did it.
Sure. So I don't remember the exact time that I started thinking about it, but I guess you referenced the junior year. Our football team was not like fantastic. And I remember watching games and being like, I could kick that. Like, that's not that hard. And I had a few buddies on the football team, and I like kind of like would joke around with them, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you should join." Like, soccer players can usually kick pretty well. And then come my summer going into my senior year is I can't even remember like why I wanted to do it. And I don't know if it was because like, hey, you always told me like you need to be a two sport athlete, like that's good for college, whatever that may be. But I think I just kind of like was joking in my head, and then like I almost like called my own bluff and was like, okay, well, you should go and do it. One of my good buddies, Sean, at the time, he was on the team, and he was like, yeah, I can set up a meeting with the coach. And I was like, okay, sure. And this was in the summer before like preseason would have started. And I just talked to the coach and I was like, hey, and I still remember the phrase. I was so nervous when I went and talked to him that I said, I play sub clocker, and that's really important to me. And he was like sub clocker, and I was like club soccer. I didn't like seriously remember that because I was just so nervous because it was like it was just a bunch of bros and this like big brilliant football coach that I figured like he would absolutely not take me seriously. So that was just kind of how it all started. Sub
Um,
clocker.
A sub clocker. I didn't hear that before. A sub clocker.
Really?
You sound like your mother.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a Cheryl move.
So just to make sure everybody knows, you did play on the high school team and you were in club.
Yeah, I started playing soccer when I was 10, and then I did like travel in the off season to high school soccer, and like thoroughly loved it. It was my passion. I spent all my time practicing and thinking, and yeah, soccer was a big deal in my life.
I know you had mentioned that you were kind of unsure of why you did it. And if I could guess, one of the reasons why you did it was because the football team wasn't successful and you wanted to help make it successful.
Yeah.
Because when you play to win and you want everyone else to play to win.
Yes, I think that's a pro and a con of my personality. I'm extremely competitive, which has, I think, just pushed me in life in many avenues. However, sometimes like I need to reel it back, or like I'm playing like a club or I'm playing like a rec league and I'm a little bit too serious, a little bit too competitive for sure.
Yeah, I was on the end of some of those phone calls when you were frustrated when you didn't win. But I
Yep.
love that fighting spirit about you, I have to tell you.
It's gotten me in predicaments and it's gotten me out of predicaments. That is something like I'm working on. Like if I'm playing cards with my friends or pool at a bar, like I need to not be so mad when I lose.
Okay, what were some of the initial reactions from your peers, coaches, and others when they learned about your goal? And how did you handle that?
Okay, so my close female friends, they were just like, oh, hell yeah, like that's awesome. Like they were just very much supportive. They like kind of were like shocked, but like believed in me. And then there were I think like a group from the soccer that kind of like didn't want me to do it necessarily because it was just so different. And then also the chance of me getting hurt. And then there was a group that they were like, who is this girl? Why is she doing this? And they were like not fond of the idea at all. Like when I first went to like the opening of the preseason, like these men were looking at me wondering why I was here, like this is not a place for you. Like very judgmental. And I was like, just you wait.
So I remember when your soccer coach was so angry at you for doing this. He called me up. I mean, he was furious. And I know he talked to the football coach and was said, no one better touch this girl because I need her for my season.
Yeah. And like that might have been on my poor management because I don't know if I went to my soccer coach first. Cause like now looking back, like if I didn't do that step, that's what I should have done to tell him like why I was doing it, how I was approaching it, how I was still prioritizing soccer. So that would make sense why he was upset, but also just like he was scared because like some of these men are like twice the size of me. And also like there has been situations that if a man thinks that you're not in the right place or you shouldn't be in this environment, like he's going to try to show you that and prove that to you. I was originally going to do PAT, field goal, and punt and kickoff. That's what I was training for in preseason. However, after my soccer coach spoke with the football coach, I was then cut from having the ability to play punt and then kickoff because those would have been live plays and then I would have had a chance to like be in contact. So I was like kind of upset with my coach because then I was limited, but like I also was like, okay, this is a fair ground that we can compromise on.
And as a mother, I was happy that your soccer coach stepped in and provided you with that protection because I didn't want you getting hit because I felt that they would have hit you, gone after you more because
Tried to
of
rock me. Yeah.
right.
Well, I do remember the coach, the football coach, essentially like speaking to the team and was like, no one will touch her or you guys will get hurt. Like I will hurt you and you will be running forever. So he did definitely like make that message very clear. And then I felt like I had a bunch of like older brother, like I just had like a bunch of like brothers and like this nice like masculine energy of protection where they had my back and I had theirs. So that was really nice.
How about the parents? Did you ever get any flack from the parents before they saw what you could do?
I don't think so because it was a pretty quick turnaround from when the guys were giving me the stink eye saying you don't like belong here to then I remember I was with the special teams kicking coach and they were all coming in from their practice. So they got to watch me kick. And it was kind of like, oh, I'm going to show them here's my skill. So it was a pretty quick turnaround from them not believing to being like, okay, she can kick. And then at that point, I don't think the parents had been involved. Probably the first time the parents were involved was our first scrimmage. So maybe there was something, but I never experienced that. Did you experience anything with the
You know
parents?
what? I didn't experience that. I was in the crowd. Nobody knew you were my daughter. And I did hear like a little bit of scuttlebutt here and a scuttlebutt there, like there's a girl on the team and what. And then within that same scrimmage game, they saw what you could do and they were like all in. They were team Hannah. They were
Yeah,
team Hannah.
yeah.
So it was nice. Yeah, it was nice to witness that they did not that they did not judge you because you were a woman. So describe your commitment level because your commitment level of soccer was unparalleled. Your soccer coach actually told me you were the most dedicated, hardworking female or male that he ever coached. So can you talk a little bit about your commitment, your drive to be the best player? Where's that come from?
Well, probably my older brother Andrew and always wanting to beat him. No, I honestly don't know. I feel that almost everything that I've done in life, like if I was truly interested in it, that was just the approach I took. Um, if I was going to apply myself, like you better believe it was going to be to my highest optimal level that I could imagine. And I think I put the same amount of like love and passion and practice and like determination into football as I did soccer. I actually at that time I was in club soccer and the high school football, and I remember like I would right after school, because I didn't have the ability to store my like my pads and all my football gear. I'd have to stay in my car because like they didn't have big enough lockers in the women's locker room for that. I'd run out to the car, I'd run back, I'd change, I'd go out, I'd kick. And then like my friend would like pick me up right after practice, and then we'd drive to soccer practice. And I just remember like I was just go, 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 go. But it felt so good because I was also tapping into like these different areas of discipline and like different strengths within the sports. Um, I don't know. I just really want to be the best at things. And it's like my best. Like, even if it's, if I perform it, like, even if we won as for a soccer game, it's like, if I performed poorly, I was not happy. Um, and I don't really know where that came from.
Perhaps your mother and her perfectionism.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, sorry, sorry.
Yeah.
So did you feel that I uh supported you throughout the process?
Yeah, of course. I think you were, I could feel your like your motherly instincts being afraid of like me physically getting hurt and then also like a little emotionally hurt because it was a weird situation. Um, but no, I felt super supported. Do you remember that before every game, Friday game, we would put on like super extra, like sparkly, very feminine, like nail polish. Do you remember us doing that? Or like the little stickers, because I wanted people to know like I was this, like the other teams to know that I was a female. So I remember that. I also remember you for like the first game day of the senior year, you hosted a breakfast for me and my girlfriends. So yeah, I always felt supported in that way.
It was fun when we go to away games, well, even home games, but mostly away games because of the way their stands were. And just the comments that I would hear just would, I don't know, crack me up. But, and I just knew how strong you were and how determined you were. And just because they were like mad because you were a girl.
Yeah.
And I was just like, just watch, just wait. She's going to prove it. And you proved it.
Yeah. Yeah, I do remember like, because I guess I don't really remember it at Zion, but I remember like at other schools, like hearing like if I were to go out for the kick, you'd be like, oh, and Hannah Magiera with the PAT, like successful kick. And then people like I would like get kind of nods, like, oh, that was a girl. Cause like, I mean, whatever, my ponytail was out, but a guy could have long hair, whatever.
And I think you only ever missed one PAT, right? Or one field goal. You only
In
missed one in the whole season or something.
in within the actual season, it wasn't missed, it was blocked.
Oh,
And
you're right. It was
I was
blocked.
mad. I was so mad because they had one guy short on the line. And I was like, this was mismanagement. You guys were like not paying attention and you made me have a blocked kick. I was pissed. Yeah, I was really
Yeah.
mad.
Yeah, yeah. Now that you say that, I totally remember.
Mhm.
What was your experience integrating into mostly all man sport? Integrating yourself into that team was just traditionally all male space.
Yeah. There was some like moments where I was like, oh, I'll give you an example. So before practice every day, you would go in like the inside gym and the coach would kind of give you the rundown of practice, or maybe he would like write out a new play that we were going to practice that day. And most of the time, men are like in a tank top or they're topless because you have your pads and like you don't want to have your pads on. And I would wear like a sports bra, like just a sports bra, because then I would put my pads over. And this was probably within like the first week or two of actual practice, and the coach like pulled me aside, like the head coach pulled me aside, and he said, "Hey, Hannah, you are like so feminine and so masculine at the same time, and you are extremely intimidating to these men, and they think you're so cute, and like essentially you can't be distracting them like this. Like you have to wear a shirt." And I was like, okay, like that made me really mad, because I'm like, these are my peers, like we are equal in a sense that if they can have a shirt off, I can wear a sports bra, and we should all be able to like be professional, and we couldn't. And I felt like me as the female, I was getting not like blamed, but like I had to change my behavior extra in order to make them comfortable, or to like not draw attention to myself. So like sometimes that would be an issue. I also found that, were you gonna say something?
I was just gonna say, did you not, you didn't challenge that norm, or you just respected the coach and
Yeah, when the coach, like when the coach is gonna tell me something like that, I was kind of just like, okay, it it is what it is. And then I also found that my coaches used me as motivation in like a weird way to the men on the team. So at the time, I thought it was like kind of a positive thing, but now looking back, I'm like, what did that mean? Like an example, we would be doing sprints, and I was pretty quick at the time. And the conditioning coach would say, "You're gonna let a girl beat you?" Like to make the guys go faster. So they were using me as like a marker. And if the men had fallen behind me, that was like a dishonor to their manhood or something. So at that time I was like, yeah, like try to keep up. But now like looking back as a little bit older, I was like, that was rude. That was
that was,
disrespectful.
that was disrespectful.
Like you're just saying that I'm weaker because I am a woman. But honestly, like the guys themselves, they were so welcoming. They were so warm. I never felt like an outsider. I felt so accepted.
Right away, there was no turning point.
As soon as they saw me kick, pretty much. And then it just like kept building and building. And then I think probably after our first game, uh, where I had made a PAT, that they were like, okay, she's legit. She's not going to choke. Like we trust her and she trusts us.
Can you just describe the PAT for those that don't know what it is?
Point after touchdown. So when you score the 6, you can either go for the 2 or for the 1. I don't think we ever went for maybe a few times we went for the 2, but it was, yeah, pretty standard. And then the difference of PAT, field goal is when you're just going for those 3 points, and it's going to be further out.
Can you describe the feeling when you successfully executed your first PAT and then your first field goal? Do you remember that?
I don't remember that exactly, but it was probably just this like this relief, because I knew that if I were to have missed it, it would have been because I was a girl, not because the conditions on the field, not because I made a mistake, not because I was nervous, because I was a girl. And that's what I was literally so afraid of. And it wasn't even just like I was afraid of like for myself, I was afraid for my peer females, that like it felt like I was representing us. And like that is why I was so afraid of failure. But I do remember very specifically the homecoming game. We went into overtime. And like I didn't even know the rules of overtime. Like I had no idea how you go into like the extra I don't know what it's called, like whatever. And we got the ball first. We went down, we scored a touchdown. And then I was like, oh, yay, like we won. This is great. So they're like, all right, Hannah, out for the PAT. And I was like, this is so great. We won our homecoming game and I'm just going to kick. So I go out there, like not even the pressure's on, and I kick. And then they're sending out the defense. I'm like, what the hell? I thought the game was over. And they're like, no. And I was like, oh, like that kick was really important. And then the other team went down and scored. And then I think they tried to do a 2-point conversion and they didn't get it. And then I just remember like rushing out into the field. It was pretty much like they were celebrating like me, the one that had kicked it, and then the guy that had defended against the 2-point conversion. And I was like at the bottom of what are they called?
The pile?
Yeah, and I was like getting crushed, and I was like, oh my God. But it was like literally euphoria. All of my friends were there. I remember, I think on the homecoming game, they all wrote on their stomach, like, we love Hannah. It was just literally like perfection. Like that was a really cool high school memory for me. Like it was like I had proved myself, I had proved to everyone, like we won. There was just so much like team mentality, and yeah, that was a good time.
That was such a great game.
Yeah.
And when you had said that you felt so much pressure because you felt like if you missed, it was because you were a girl,
Mhm.
I felt that same pressure because I felt that parents were going to say that about you if you did miss, because
Yeah.
it wasn't about anything else other than being a female.
Yep.
So I was so thrilled that you proved people wrong.
Yeah.
It felt,
There was like
it,
no room for error.
yeah, but it felt so good as a mother to watch her daughter soar. And it was a fantastic season.
Yeah.
It really was. So how do you perceive the stereotype kicks like a girl? Because when I used it in my writings, to me, it was like, hell, damn right, she kicked like a girl. She kicked with courage and confidence and power.
Yeah.
But that's how do you perceive that stereotype?
I personally don't take offense to it because I've been surrounded by this language for so long. But if someone were to just say that, absolutely, I'm going to take that negatively. It's like you are assigning weakness to females. Like, don't kick like a girl. Why you gotta cry like a girl? Like, don't be a little. And it's definitely like a catalyst for motivation. I'm like, okay. I also think like my generation, are you familiar with the movie She's the Man?
I think that's one of your faves, isn't it?
Well, it used to be, yeah. With Amanda Bynes, and she goes and she like dresses up as her brother Sebastian. Like those were very similar, like feelings to what I had, I think.
So looking back, what are the most valuable lessons that you learned from this unique experience?
Probably like there is no limit to what you want to do. It sounds like really like cliche and silly, but it's just the truth. If you like wholeheartedly believe in yourself and then like apply yourself after that, like it's a lot of work. So you have to want it that bad. Um, I also just loved getting a kick out of proving people wrong. I absolutely did. Like that was like a big motivation as well.
I think that's a theme in your life.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it though. So what do you think the biggest lesson that you showed the females in your school with this?
You know, it's an interesting concept because it's like when it's you're so close to it, it's you start to normalize everything. So like in the middle of my season, I was just like, yeah, I'm going to football practice. Like it's no big deal. Like I'm just kicking, like it's whatever. But then like being in say the weight room or like the trainer's room and there'd be younger women and be like, oh, like you're Hannah, like you kick on the football team. And I was like, that's so weird that like they're viewing me in this way and that this is encouraging them to do whatever they want to do. Like so many of my friends were like, that was so badass. Like that was so cool. And even like now when I tell stories about it, people are like, really? Really? And I'm just like, it's surprising that it is so shocking still. It's like, come on, it's 2024 people. Like it's not that big of a deal. But it's because like the constructs of society and like gender roles make it such this like black and white male female sport. But it's not that big of a deal. I think my close friends were really freaking proud of me. I think they really were like, they just supported me so well. They would go to like every single game and just cheer me on. There was like never any jealousy. Like they were just like rooting for me. And then the people that weren't close to me, I think I just like let them just given it an example of like, you can do it too. Like we can all do it.
And you know, Papa was so proud of you, which is my dad
Yeah.
and his grandfather. And he just thought it was so great. And coming from I would consider him old school.
Yeah. I mean,
And he just thought it was fantastic. So
yeah.
he loved watching you play.
He was a big support.
Yeah. And watching you as a parent was really inspiring to me and made me want to go and do things that I didn't think I could. So I really appreciate what lesson that you have taught your mother.
Do you think that there's one action that you could think of that you did because of me kicking?
Timing wise, was it the triathlon? Did I do that after you were out?
Yeah.
Because I did the triathlon when I couldn't swim
Yeah.
and I
Okay.
had to swim across a lake.
A lake.
He did. I had to swim across Lake Andrea.
Yeah.
I did have a noodle until it got taken away from me by the water angels. But that probably encouraged me.
Okay.
So, and I use that as an example of you can do hard things, you know, I used to think of that all the time. I'm like, if you could do a triathlon, girlfriend, you can do this and you can do that. So I don't know if you ever think about that or you just move on with your next goal.
I think sometimes when I'm doing something that would incite like stage fright or like performance anxiety, I'm like, Hannah, come on. Like you used to go out in a football stadium as a female and like kick in front of like hundreds of people. Like you can do this.
Yeah, you had your little routine down pat that you practiced over and over and over and over and over and
Yeah,
over.
honestly, at the end of the season, I was like declining because my legs were just exhausted. Like I remember in the beginning of the season, I could hit like a 55-yard field goal pretty comfortably. And once you just keep using your legs and legs and legs, and then I was still playing soccer, I was like, I'm tired. I was so tired at the end of the season.
I need a nap.
Yeah.
How do you hope your story will inspire or influence others who might hesitate to break out of traditional roles and pursue unconventional paths?
I love doing things that are untraditional. I love like going outside of the gender norms. And I hope like from both sides, like women to do things that men typically do, men to get in touch with like their more feminine side. I just hope that like if a person really wants to do something, that construct will not stop them. Like I have like I want that to be true on both sides.
And do you have any additional advice that you would give them?
Just stop caring about the standard. Stop caring about what other people think. Don't worry about failure. And don't worry about being perfect. It's just harder said than done.
Yeah, that is true. And anything specifically you'd want to say to women or young women athletes or just women in general that are trying to find their way?
Like just try everything. And like no one is gonna believe in you more than you. And like if you can be your biggest cheerleader, your biggest rock star, your biggest support system, like you're gonna go a long way. Because once you start believing in you, everyone around you is gonna start believing you and they're gonna rally behind you. But like you have to find that confidence first. And like maybe fake it till you make it. I don't know. But like, yeah, it's okay to fail and like do it again and again and again. And I also think it's really healthy for both genders to like co-practice. Like I think I probably maybe felt a little bit more comfortable in the male realm because I was around my older brother and maybe his friends, or because I played co-ed soccer. So when you just start to get more comfortable with that, I think it just opens up a lot of options.
Is there any little tip that you can give people that are so scared? Fear is stopping them?
I think everyone's scared. I think we look at these people that are in front of us that are performing, and we think that they don't have the same demons as us, or that they don't have the same insecurities as us, and it's just so easy. And there's so many times where it's like, you talk to that person like, oh my God, I was so nervous. Like I had so much anxiety. You're like, what? You were fantastic. You were amazing. And it's like everyone has similar experiences, and like you are not struggling more than someone else, and someone else is not struggling more than, it's just like, it's different, but so similar. And I think just remember, like, you are not alone in this. These feelings are not, like independent to you. There's a lot of people that you can lean on to talk about that. And also like find a mentor. If you know someone that like, okay, if you struggle in performance anxiety or like public speaking, or you just want to get more confident in something, like go find someone that you see do that performs that really, really well, and talk to them and ask them, how did they get there? Like, how are you practicing this? What are the obstacles? How can I get through these obstacles? I think that's also like a really big thing, is having a really, really good mentor, and just know that like you're not alone, and like everyone is going at their own pace, and it's okay that you're at your different pace. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. You never know what that other person next to you is going through.
Yep. Yeah, what do they call that? The spotlight effect, where you think like everyone know, like you have a pimple on your face, like, oh my God, everyone notices this, and like this is so embarrassing, and you think it's like the end of the world, and it's like no one even blinked at that. Like it
Oh,
doesn't.
I'm totally guilty of that for sure.
Yeah. But we're our hardest critic. So
Yeah. Hannah, you have been inspiring to me as a daughter and just as a female, just as a person, as a human being, and how you bypass barriers and stereotypes and you go after what you want. That it has inspired me so much watching you over the years. It is an honor to be your mama.
aw, thank you. Well, I am like, apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So um a
Wait, what
lot
did
of
you say? Club or wait, what did you say? Club
clubs,
soccer, soccer.
club soccer. But yeah, a lot of me is from you. So just remember that.
Oh, thank you. All right. I appreciate you. I appreciate you taking time to come on and chat with your mama. And until I see everyone, shine on, friends. Thanks, Hannah.
Thanks so much.